If Yoki had more than 16 minutes of play, Creighton would have had thrown in the towel. And mind you, this is a team that they ended up beating by 18 points. If Yoki was not in foul trouble, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towels would have had to be thrown in because sometimes you just got to try to stop the bleeding some other way. And this was really, really simple offense. Baby, get it to Yoki. she gonna take care of you. She gonna take care of you every single time.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Run It Back here on KCSN. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? It's good to see y'all again. And look here, y'all already know what I'm going to talk about. It's going to be all K-State women's basketball. I'm going to talk about K-State volleyball hopefully a little bit later too. But you got to start with the nitty and the gritty, okay? And that's going to be this K-State women's basketball team. Now, if y'all don't remember, last week I went ahead and talked to head coach Jazsmin, right? And I told him that this K-State women's basketball team is the hottest team in Manhattan. He says, I'm not sure about that. Damn it, Jeff. Yes, y'all are. Yes, y'all are. This ain't to throw no shade to anybody else on campus. But I mean, you look at K-State men's basketball, a little rough right now. That's not meant to be shade, but clearly we know who the better team was that was wearing purple that touched that floor, and it wasn't LSU. It was K-State women's basketball. You feel me? That's it. That's where we are right now. That's where this team is right now. And for the second year in a row, argue with your mama, they are the hottest team on campus still, and will remain until further notice. You feel me? Because coming into this game, they played against Creighton. They ended up winning this game by 86 to 68. This could have been a lot more, but Creighton was be able to say, like, we don't want to go out like that, and I respect them for that, to be able to get that under 20. But this was a Creighton team that was ranked preseason. They ended up losing to what I think South Dakota State in a close one early on before this matchup with K-State. But you know, Creighton, Big East team, we all know about Big East basketball. We don't have to converse too much about it. We know about Big East basketball, men and women. Hello. But this is, once again, what I'm getting at. This is a good team. This is a team that was able to be a test for K-State women's basketball, and we see how that test was able to work out. You can beat up on small teams however many times you want to. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to run up the score on them little suckers, respectfully, okay? But when you are a top 10 team in the country like K-State women's basketball is, you're supposed to do your job, pat them suckers up real quick, and move on to the next game, right? So they can do that all damn day. But to be able to have that type of energy, that same energy, against a power conference like the Big East, a team in the Big East, a team in Creighton that was ranked preseason, and pack them up just like you've done these other teams. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me. This is the type of time that they own. Now, I mentioned the score to you just a moment ago, 86 to 68. Man, that more than 80 sound a little bit familiar because, damn it, this is the third game in a row K-State women's basketball has scored more than 80 points. And the last time they did that was 20 damn years ago. It's like 2004, 2005 basketball season. That's the last time they've had back-to-back 80-point plus games. I mean, this is practically a different generational offense in comparison from what we're looking at. They ain't really done this in almost a generation. I'm just saying. It's obviously a new team, new era, new way of scoring. But once again, 20 years since they've been able to do something like this. So I'll be damned if we're not going to celebrate it. You know what I mean? And this is not being like, oh, I'm grasping at straws, low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of good teams out there who score us 80 points on a consistent basis, and that's great for them. But baby, we try to build. We try to climb. And right now being a top 10 team, that's really putting it on not only these smaller teams, but a Big East team as well in Creighton. See, that's when we onto something. That's when we truly onto something. Okay, let me break things down a little bit more for you. Okay, first quarter in, K-State was already going in hot. Scored 22 points in the first quarter. Creighton only had 9. Hello, Gap, go, Gappy. We've been new. We've been understood. That little pick and pop 3 was really working. He had, I think, 2 3-pointers are only scoring of the game, 6 points from Jalen Glenn. The little pick and pop at the top of the key, that was really working for him. And then just offense and they were shooting, 60% from the field, had 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Creighton only had 4 rebounds. Clearly, Creighton was just too damn small. Yoki did what she had to do. She had 8 points in the first quarter alone, which is, when I tell you her overall, that's going to be practically crumbs. Right, but only because that pick and pop 3 was really, really cooking. They were 4 for 5 from 3 in the first half, but now you see how much Yoki was really cooking them in the post, right? As I think if I heard the announcers correctly, I think Creighton's tallest player was 6'1". Serena's 6'1". Yeah, Serena is 6'1". You're telling me your post player is 6'1", you gonna have to try to box out our 6'6" queen? You're gonna have to try to get in the face of our 6'6" queen? Ayoka Lee? Miss Princess 61? No, you're not gonna do it, and they did it. Once again, respectfully so. Because why go away from something that was clearly working? That's why maybe a little pick and pop that was really working well. Look to see that more so in the season. But when Yoki's really just eating them up in the post, all you got to do is really keep the offense simple. They talked about it on the broadcast last night too. You got 4 out in the perimeter, and you got the lone 5 right there holding down the paint, and that was Yoki. That's why I was killing him in the assists. I'll be like, bro, all you got to do is put it up, high point it like Yoki always does, put it high above her head, and she's able to score essentially any point within that little 10-foot radius of the basket. I think she even did a nice little fadeaway jumper real quick over three defenders in the first quarter. I'm like, bro, they too small. I know you can't see it right now, but my hand is to my ankles because that's how small they were in comparison with trying to guard Yoki. Because she ended up finishing this game with 28 points, and now the officiating, maybe they was abysmal, but she got 28 points in 16 minutes just because she was in foul trouble. Now, let me back up a little bit because I said that too damn fast. Okay. Ayoka Lee, 28 points in 16 minutes because she had foul trouble. Do you know how utterly insane that is for someone to have 28 points in 16 minutes against a Big East team? I'm just if officiating was better, officiating sucked last night. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be so real. It was ticky tacky. If this was a conference game, everybody would have fouled the hell out at this point in time. Calls were not great for either team. I will say, Creighton had a right to be upset at a lot of things too. But the only reason Yoki didn't have 30 points is because the ball don't lie. They fouled her. I think it might have been the end of the first quarter or the end of the second, to where they said they fouled her on a shot when clearly it wasn't, and she ended up missing both free throws. That was a true situation. The ball don't lie. They had a right to be upset with that. But officiating was just abysmal. But, bro, if Yoki had more than 16 minutes of play, Creighton would have had thrown in the towel. And mind you, this is a team that they ended up beating by 18 points. If Yoki was not in foul trouble, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towels would have had to be thrown in, because sometimes you just got to try to stop the bleeding some other way. And this was really, really simple offense. Baby, get it to Yoki. she gonna take care of you. She gonna take care of you every single time. And she wasn't on the floor a whole bunch. Like I said, 16 minutes. But of course, Kennedy, she was able to come in. She got 10 points, 6 rebounds, albeit I want to say 3 or 4 came from essentially we're getting her own rebounds just because the ball wasn't getting into the hoop. But she showed a lot of passion with that, because you can see she was visibly upset with herself that she wasn't able to get those 3-4 putbacks in before she eventually got fouled, I think. But this is dangerous. This is dangerous. I talked in the last episode about how everything is. This is a really deep roster. They can score in multiple different ways outside of the obvious being Yoki. But once again, when the offense can be so simple, when literally no one is going to stop her, that's where you need to beat the ball to. Because Tamara Poindexter, I mean, I thought this would be like a really big game for her. Take stuff over because, the first 2 games, Yoki only played a combined 7 minutes. She only played a few minutes in game 1. She didn't play at all in game 2. And Poindexter was clearly the best player on the floor. And she is very capable of being the best player on the floor at any night. It just depends who's got the hot hand. And last night it was Yoki, right? Tamara ended up finishing the game with 12 points. I think she easily could have ended up with getting closer to 20. She had 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. Serena Sundell, she's kind of had a little bit of a slower start to the season, a little bit less than what we're used to seeing her, but she came alive in the third quarter. I think she scored all 12 of her points in the third quarter, and she was already on triple-double watch. With them 12 points, she also had 8 assists and 7 rebounds. So 8 assists, only 3 turnovers. Serena Sundell, baby, we know. One of the pretty much one of the, if not the tallest guards in not the Big 12, but literally in the country, what she's been able to do with the ball in her hands. There are so many things in this game that's going to be able to translate, and this was a really difficult opponent. You had Jensen, that she came into this game averaging 27 points a game, and she had 9. Once again, Gap Goat. This team is going to be dangerous at so many levels of the game that it's not even funny. It's not even funny about what they're going to be able to do against so many teams out there, and I understand the competition is going to get even harder. Let's see what this team will be able to do against, Iowa State, who's once again really damn good. Audie Crooks, that matchup between her and Naoka Lee, I'm already having nightmares and dreams about it because that is a top tier matchup. But it's infinite. What this team can do is infinite. They've learned their lesson from last year, because I know they had high expectations last season as well. It didn't end the way they wanted them to. I know I kind of put out a lot of expectations on them because I said if they do not leave, the season with some sort of title, whether it's Big 12 or tournament champion, I felt like it was a failure. They didn't really get very far into the NCAA tournament. They got to round 2 and lost, losing to Colorado. It ended up being a really strong start to a season that ended up being a little bit disappointing, but I feel like they've learned their lesson just because how experienced every single player is on this team now. And they're healthy, they're deep. This is infinite. It's infinite. And I can talk all day about them, and eventually I will. But first, I got to give a shout out to Home Field Apparel. You feel me? They're going to get you right with all the shirts, with all the t-shirts, with all the hats. You already know the deal. They got all of these colleges out there. If maybe you know somebody that's not a K-State fan and they want to get something else, you can get it to them by going to homefieldapparel.com. Please hit them up, and we'll be right back for more Run It Back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your number 1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Y'all heard me just do a complete spiel about this K-State women's basketball team, and I'm going to do it a little bit more because I'm telling you that this is infinite. Because right now, I talked about a little bit earlier how this is, third straight game of 80-plus points per game right now so far. They ain't done that in literally 20 years to this season. And in that game against Creighton, they shot 43% from 3. And in these 3 games so far, they're already averaging 9 3-point makes a game. Now, once again, this is a team that always had the looks to really be a dangerous team from 3, because obviously when you do have Yoki controlling the paint down there, getting open where you can get easy assists to her by just having her high point the ball and throwing it up there, you're gonna get a lot of space in front of you to knock down some threes. We've been through this. This has been the system for a few years now, right? But every now and again, that's sometimes threes weren't falling, because last season K-State finished 10th in the Big 12 in 3-point percentage. And yes, I understand We're only 3 games in. I understand that these numbers are going to change a little bit. But once again, when you're already doing something that ain't been done in 20 damn years, and what you really doing by getting the ball in the cup from beyond the arc like they're doing so far, that little pick and pop like I was talking about before with Jalen Glenn, what you got Vanna Walker being able to do, what you got Terrence Sides being able to do, what you got Tamara Poindexter to be able to do. I talked about her last week as well. She got a quick trigger. I didn't know that trigger was that damn quick. Okay, but we already see the range from everybody else. We've seen it in a more consistent way that I think we did earlier on last season. It's just what they're going to do to make sure it becomes more consistent. Like I said, this team has learned their lesson. It can't get too high. I don't think they got too high last season. It was just kind of derailed by injuries. You had Yoki. She was out for 7 games in the middle of the season, and they were waning then. They weren't doing as strong. They weren't finishing games as well. And then when she did come back, unfortunately, things did not get much easier like I thought they would have when she did. But once again, this is a more experienced team. These are upperclassmen, or these are players that has a lot of playing time. Like Terrence Sides, clearly she's not no freshman no more. She already exuded confidence when she was able to see the floor last season. It was just not as much when we're in a conference play, but I expect her to see a lot more of her when it comes to conference play when it starts, late December, right? It's just, like I said, that's that consistency. We talked about the experience, what they're going to do, about the defense. I know Creighton was able to get something a little bit going there, especially in the second half. K-State came out really flat to start the second half as well. We've seen that before. They were able to get on a run. Creighton did. Then K-State was like, all right, let me pack this up right now, because Yoki got in foul, I think, early again in the second half. Once again, officiating abysmal from start to finish, but whatever. What can you do about it? Now it's just staying consistent, not only through the season, but you got to start by staying consistent throughout a whole game. Creighton was able to get some confidence going a little bit more. They were able to get a lot more shots from behind the arc that was not falling in the first half. K-State's 1v1 defense was waning a little bit in that second half that you can see. You had Creighton getting by the first defender, and that would put the second defender in a bad spot. They say they blow by their man. The second defender has to come up and help, and then that Creighton player kicks out to somebody else who's either cut into the basket or is either going to be a wide open 3, right? So the 1v1 defense, it waned a little bit, but that's not something I'm worried about, because once again, when the spirit of gap goat, anything is possible, right? Once again, this is a marquee team when it comes to the defense. That's what was their bread and butter for actually multiple seasons, but was truly, truly their strength last season, right? So what they got next is going to be pretty much a long line of really smaller teams. I don't want to be disrespectful and say easy teams, because once again, this is NCAA basketball. Anybody can get got. They have a lot of smaller teams coming at Little Rock, Milwaukee. Then they start getting another test again by playing Power 4, or I guess essentially can be Power 5 when it comes to basketball, because I do want to add the Big East in there. They're going to have the Ball Dogs Classic where they go up against Duke. Then they have to go up against Oklahoma and DePaul. In Oklahoma, they had our number a little bit last season, right? So they have plenty of opportunity to really solidify what the heck they gonna do in this season. But right now, baby, is looking bright. It's looking good. It's looking bright. Once again, they have a lot of smaller teams. Texas A&M, they play at College Station in December 8th. That's going to be another challenge. And then, boom, that's where it's going to be conference play just like that. So the consistency, that's what we're going to look for. I don't have a worry with this team. Once again, a Creighton team, a good Creighton team, beat by nearly 20 points. All right, we're going to clap that. We're going to move on. Okay, not worried about this team at all, because damn it, it's everybody take cover. All right, but now a team that I am worried about a little bit these next few minutes in this show. K-State Volleyball, overall record right now, 9-13, 7-6 in the Big 12, ranked 7. 2-game losing streak. Talked to Coach Mansfield a couple weeks ago. This is tough. This is tough. They were back-to-back losses to ranked teams. Last year we had ranked teams on our hit list. They was coming to the morgue, and they were going down in the morgue. That energy, unfortunately, is not here. Is not here this season, which really sucks when you have such a, I guess, can't say fully successful season overall, but a successful first your head coach for K-State. That was absolutely successful because they should have been in the NCAA tournament, but they got robbed. They wanted to have the chance to not let this be in the committee's hands again by having a hell of a hard schedule to start the season. Didn't go out the way they wanted to. So this season overall is not going the way they want it to. From what it looks like right now, unfortunately, they're not gonna probably be able to make the tournament. You know, it sucks. You hate to see that for people like Leah Carter, who is a K-State volleyball GOAT. At this point, her names is going to be in the books here for a very, very long time. And she decided to come back to K-State to have that opportunity to make an NCAA tournament. And unfortunately, it's not working out that way. K-State had an opportunity. They have a lot of ranked teams to finish out this season. They had lost to number 11 Arizona State. They just lost to number 17 Baylor. They're going to play number 18 TCU. Yes, they had a chance to really solidify that resume to try to go to the NCAA tournament before all these ranked teams that they had to play. If they won, great. They won in fairly dominating fashion for most of them. Great. Then they really had a case for being able to make it to the NCAA tournament. But unfortunately, it's not going the way they wanted to. They lost Arizona State 1-3. They got swept by Baylor. And now I'm not want to make this seem like they got their butts whooped. They did not get their butts whooped at all. And that loss to Arizona State, who's first in the Big 12, by the way, all incredibly close sets. 22-25 Arizona State, 25-21 K-State, then 20-25 and 23-25 to finish off those sets against Arizona State. Then boom, you move over to 17th ranked Baylor. We got swept in that game, but it was not a butt whooping. It's 21-25, 22-25, 18-25. It was always, if there was a point here, a point there, things would have really flipped on its head because they played very, very well against Arizona State. Once again, number one team in the Big 12 right now. It's just some points just didn't go their way. And then hopefully it gives them the confidence that they'd be able to, take into Baylor. But that was, once again, it was a sweep, but once it wasn't a butt whooping. They're so close. I can't guarantee that they still be able to win these games against these high-ranked teams, but it's just, I know it's frustrating for them because it's just this close. If the ball goes their way in this set, if the ball goes their way that set, we'd be having a completely different conversation. And clearly this schedule is not going to get any easier. I tell you, they play number 18 TCU. They're going to maybe get a slight break against UCF, who's at the bottom of the Big 12 right now. Then they play Kansas, 12th ranked. That went 5 sets last time they played in Lawrence. And after that, they play Colorado, also bottom tier of the Big 12. And then they're going to finish the season off against BYU, who's ranked 24th in the nation right now. Unfortunately, I feel like that chance for the NCAA tournament, that window is closed, unfortunately. You hate to see it. You hate to see it for Leah Carter. I really wanted to see her in the postseason because I know maybe she'd be making some noise like she does every single time she sets foot on the floor. But you just hate to see it. You just hate to see it. I hope they still I have faith that they're going to finish out the season strong. Because what else you got to play for except for the girl next to you, right? But it sucks. I think we're going to get even better next year. A lot of transfers are coming in. People staying healthy. Shaylee Myers obviously has stepped up. And Nia Clinton has got healthy. I think they're still in a good spot. They're in a good spot. Daisy Shulsesky, she's not going to be here next year, but Simone Sims, I think she's gonna be able to solidify that back line. Yeah, Ayla LeGrand, she had a really good game against Baylor. The future is bright. It just really sucks that this opportunity was missed for them to make the NCAA tournament this year. But hate that I had to end on that note, but it's okay. I'm gonna see y'all next week with more Run It Back. We have more matches, got more K-State women's basketball games, and we gonna turn it up. All right. So I'm gonna see y'all right back on Run It Back next week. See y'all then.